Matt Walsh, a hypocrite for submitting his documentary, Am I Racist, to the Oscars. I've got the story right. Or would you like to? I've got the story right here, Alan. It is from Variety. Matt Walsh is a hypocrite for submitting Am I Racist to the Oscars. Why are right wingers seeking liberal validation? I'll say this. I saw Matt's documentary, What is a Woman? I saw his film and we did cover it. Am I Racist? And I find Matt Walsh funny. He has a dry wit, unlike comedian Stephen Wright. I think he has really common sense insights. I think a lot of his views I don't even consider to be right wing. They're right in the middle of simple common sense. He's like the grumpy dad who never smiles. And so a lot of what he does, including his movies, are there. He's trolling. He's trolling. And just by submitting to the Oscars, one, you have to give him credit. What are the most successful documentaries of the last decade in terms of box office? It made more money than the Pharrell Williams Lego documentary, Piece by Piece, directed by Morgan Neville, which I think that should be an Oscar nominee. And I also think Am I Racist should be an Oscar nominee. And Alan and I both vote in the CCA, and I will be submitting for the CCA my support for this film. I will vote for it to be a nominee. I don't have any.
Well, it's not eligible for CCA because we already had our documentary award.
Yeah. Yes,
we don't have a documentary category.
No, that it might be in the next calendar. In any case, all I'm saying is he's a troll. He's doing this to F with people. His whole Twitter feed, he trolls. And I think it's funny and it's brilliant marketing. While Hollywood spends tens of millions, even $100 million marketing budgets, the marketing budget for this was tiny. I believe the documentary budget was $2 million or under $2 million. And they spent less on the marketing. So they've been promoting it as an Oscar submitted movie, which is hysterical. So I really love this. I think it's and this article just proves the left has no sense of humor. It's a troll. They don't get memes. They don't have a sense of humor. I have yet to meet a feminist who has a sense of humor, or a male feminist for that matter, who has a sense of humor. We have to be able to laugh at ourselves. Alan, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I'm looking at the box office. And yeah, you're right. At 12.3 million, it is the highest grossing documentary this year, followed by Jesus Thirst, another documentary about
faith-based movies. Alan, your thoughts on this? We'll move on. We got
well, this is the thing. For people in Hollywood, they never like to come across, or they never like to openly admit they're liberal or that Hollywood is liberal, which is exactly what this article does. It tells, if you've wondered if Hollywood is liberal, wonder no more, because they just outright say it.
Right.
Because if they're saying that they're balanced and that they don't take a side, then you wouldn't have an article like this saying right winger versus liberal, seeking liberal vindication.
Right.
And so that's the critical thing about this, because now you admit that the Oscars have a political bias,
right?
And it shouldn't. It really shouldn't. It must always be about the quality of the art. So if documentaries now have to have a political bent, well, what about all the other movies?
Well, a documentary by its definition should be seeking the truth. Mm-hmm. And I've noticed a trend over the last probably decade. Documentaries are extremely biased. Mm-hmm. They know the point they want to make before they shoot frame one. And this is the problem. And you can start with a premise. It can evolve as you make the doc, but I hardly see any docs. I'd say 90+% or more of docs already come with a point of view and an agenda that is fueled by the financiers. Whoever funds the documentary, they're the one that is choosing what opinion to have.
Well, let's be real. The Daily Wire funded this one.
Well,
and
that's
it definitely
true,
falls
but
in line with the Daily Wire viewpoint on racism and CRT.
well, I'll just say this: at least it's funny.
Yeah.
Final thoughts, Alan. We'll go to comments.
Yeah, I mean, I'll semi disagree with you. Science experiments, science exploration should be unbiased. It should be about but documentaries. Look, documentaries. I think that to me the best documentaries are the ones that present both sides. You can have a viewpoint. You could definitely let's say you're a pro-choice and you want to make a pro-choice movie. To me, if you present the pro-life side in a way that's fair and accurate, I will give you higher points, even though I may or may not agree with your viewpoint.
Right.
And that's the problem, is that even the message-based documentaries, they don't do that. They have a viewpoint, and they only present the evidence that supports their viewpoint. Where I want to see them present viewpoints and then counter it and say, this is why this person says this, but this is why that person's wrong. That's the kind of documentary. So you could be left, right, whatever, but as long as you present your case and be fair to the other side, you're not going to have a good documentary if you don't do that.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I'm just tired of, and I'm going to end on this before we go to your comments. I'll repeat what Gary Beekler has said. I don't like that. I don't want a bunch of right-wing movies. I don't want a bunch of, I want them to not pick a side. If you're going to put some, how about an appeal to common sense? Something we can all agree upon. And Hollywood taking a side is killing the business. You should not align on one side or the other.